So I had this little voice in my head ask today, Mark, what are you trying to teach in this self-blessing class? Really? And the word bathing came to my mind to describe it, which I think I used in the meditation tonight. Um, as always, I'm trying to teach what I do. I'm trying to teach my practice. And so bathing, soaking, like taking an Epsom salts bath when your muscles are sore. So thinking of practice, meditation, and otherwise out in everyday life, bathing your being in blessing rather than sometimes what is the default, which is worry, rumination on oneself, rumination on others, social relationships, planning, a lot of aversion, a lot of just kind of hunkered down, getting stuff done. So to take a moment to bathe in blessing. I was noticing this or reflecting on it this morning. It was a great time to bathe in blessing. I was walking my dog in the woods, and it was beautifully cool and quiet, and the birds and the squirrels and the chipmunks, and of course, my dog is particularly taken with chipmunks. And there was one chipmunk, and she just jumped up and down on her leash and barked, and just it was like the biggest thrill ever, as if she'd never seen a chipmunk before. And it's it's a little like having a grandchild. They're so alive and so responsive to their environment, and it's just I feel really blessed being with her most of the time. And the woods themselves, the environment, I can put words to it, but they come a little more from my head. There I am in an ocean of air, breathing, a perfect mixture for this human body. Among all these trees who are transforming what I breathe back into something that I need. And yet, what's amazing is that there's an immediate experience of just well-being there. You don't have to know anything about respiration or photosynthesis or anything like that. There's just a sense of being an animal in its environment and things being okay and being able to walk, these legs negotiating the stones and the uneven ground and the hill, the nose taking in the smells, the eyes taking in the colors and the light, and somehow the whole combination of them so pleasant. And I reflected afterwards how there's something different in this bathing and blessing than sometimes what we do where we indulge ourselves, like going for ice cream. Now, I have nothing against going for ice cream. I don't wish to pronounce any sort of curse on it. Ice cream is a wonderful substance. However, it just has a different vibe, this sense of, I'm going to give myself something specialness of it. It's different than the walk in the woods where it feels like, wow, the blessing is just here. I'm just breathing. I mean, there's a possibility of not having any air, God forbid. not being able to breathe. I can only imagine how horrible that is. But for the most part, it's just always here. And there are times when the body is too ill to go for a walk, but most of the time, wow, we can just move around on our legs. And there's so much more right than wrong at any given moment, or we wouldn't be here when it comes to the body. And it's just astonishing how beautiful this planet is. It doesn't have to be this beautiful, does it? Why does it have to be this beautiful? You know, do I just think it's beautiful because I evolved here? We as a species evolved here and all of our senses are, would we feel the same way about Mars? I don't think so. I mean, I grew up around some variations of Mars in eastern Washington State, not exactly where I grew up, which is a beautiful spot, but there were some dry desert spots. They had their own beauty, yes, but my, it's just an amazing place to be. You know, and for all of our falling into these sorts of triggered traps that our psyche has, the way that somebody says something and we feel bad about ourselves, or we're defending ourselves, or we feel like they're disrespecting us, or shame, fear. They're still breathing. They're still walking. You know, and there are some moods where you can't hardly take that goodness in. It's part of the deep tragedy of something like depression, where what I'm talking about just doesn't feel accessible, where you can't take joy in a breath. Or maybe a little, maybe if you just walk in the woods, something will seep in. I encourage you to do this kind of bathing in goodness. Or once in a while with your loved ones, human or animal, or plant for that matter. Just take them in. Just take them in. I know I say this over and over. I feel like a broken record. But it's a little bit like meditating, where there's one breath after another. And it's kind of the same. But when you drop into the space, the contemplative space of meditation, each breath is its own reality. And one after another can land, and one can still enjoy one after another. So in the same way, you have to come to my classes, because I'm going to repeat myself a lot. And it's not because I'm 65 either. Not that old yet. Maybe someday you'll be listening to me and I won't remember what I said, but right now I still do. And so bathing one's nervous system, bathing one's being in blessing. it has a real physiological effect. I think I've spoken about that too. It's being measured all over the place now. But you still have to do it, you know? You can't just know about it. You still have to do it. And, you know, if you have a mind like mine that has this habit of complaining at the gates of heaven, as my mother used to say, if you have a mind that tends to complain, there's always the opportunity to step out and see the complainer, the inner complainer, and just kind of go, honey, oh dear, yeah, you have a lot on your plate. You didn't expect that new complication, but it's okay. I talk to myself more and more. And I'm very careful not to, what's even the way to describe it, but sometimes people talk to themselves and they have such an agenda, you know, like I want to make myself better. I want to get, you know, I'm going to affirm this and I'm going to become that and this, that, and the other thing. And kind of the spiritual world is full of the kind of these sort of smorgasbord offerings of how to talk to yourself in productive ways. And goodness, they may be helpful, but my instincts are somewhat wary of it coming from that kind of energy of something that's not just sympathy, something that has an agenda. Just check it out. You know, our inner aspects, our inner faces, our inner beings, and there is a multiplicity of them. They really want to be seen with love. It's my sense. They really want to be seen with love. They want to be seen. They want to be noticed. They want their suffering to be noticed if there's any suffering. They want their goodness to be noticed. And they want to feel love from us. Even the part of us that just like blew up at someone. Even the part of us that just said the wrong thing. Honey. All aspects of us love us. And they want us to love them back. Whoever we are, you know. It's my sense. It's that simple. It really is that simple. You know, if you really have done something wrong, make it right if you can. Make amends. My sense is our system wants that too. Our inner being wants that too. Even the part of us that did the wrong thing wants that. And wants us to take responsibility for the hurt that we may have caused. And there's such a gentle way to do this, if you know how. There's a difference between, and this is really Mark Hart's distinction. I don't know, this is a universal English usage declaration, but I like to distinguish in myself between guilt and remorse. So we'll use two words to describe two different states. Guilt is, remorse is when you spontaneously realize the hurt someone else is feeling because of what you've done. And you want to rush in and go, oh, I'm so sorry. What can I do to help? Remorse is focused on the other person. It's focused on restoring something. Guilt is the pain we feel because our self-image has been wounded. And we can't tolerate the idea that we did something bad or that we did something less than our standards. So if you've done something wrong, if you've done something harmful, see what you can do about it, definitely. But love all the parts that are involved. And learn what it is to be human from the whole experience. So that when somebody else does something like that to you, you'll have a different frame of reference. You'll have the frame of reference of how fallible this human system is. But quite frankly, I'm just amazed. I'm just amazed at the complexity of this emotional being that is the human being. Just truly amazing. And it helps in giving this blessing to also know the nothing wrong here blessing. Nothing wrong here that life is difficult. Nothing wrong here that there are problems. Nothing wrong that people get hurt, even to the point of death. That's a tough one to take, isn't it? That's a hard one to get your head around. Don't get your head around it. Don't try to get your head around it. See if you can meet life as it is. There are some people who cause another's death and then have to live with it. Wow, sometimes I can only go, wow, what a thing. What a thing for a human being to live with. And to find their innocence somewhere down in there as they take responsibility. It's hard to fathom. So whatever you've done, whatever your failings, as we use that word, see if you can meet it with friendliness. It's not approval exactly. We don't approve necessarily of the unskillful things that pop out of us. But you don't have to go to your ego about it. Create an image of yourself as a bad person, a bad father, a bad mother, bad son, bad spouse. That's going to your ego with it. You can stay in the space of mercy. Mercy for all that's unskillful in yourself and in others. You can even bless the outrage, the people's callousness and cluelessness. The whole shebang. All right.